October 2020, Blue Angels RV Park, Pensacola, Florida. The Blue Angels RV Park opened for reservations just in time, as we had to leave the RV park up in Pace because of hurricane damage. We've been here for over a week now without a single catastrophe. We're starting to think that maybe 2020 will let us off for the rest of the year. Janet and I were so looking forward to the end of this year that we had to celebrate early. That may have been a mistake because I think we caught 2020's attention again. The wind started to pick up and the seas started to rise, and that could only mean one thing. That's right, you guessed it, another hurricane, and this time it's Hurricane Delta. For those of you keeping track, yes, this is the third hurricane that Janet and I have had to deal with this year. It's actually the second one in just a little over 3 weeks. Fortunately, this one didn't hit us head on. And although the near miss made the winds manageable, it still dumped a ton of rain. The next day, Janet and I had a celebratory drink because again, we got off scot-free. So yeah, that was a mistake because 2020 saw us. And so 2020 immediately rewarded us with Hurricane Zeta. Thankfully, it was also a near miss, and all we got was a little bit of rain. And a few days later, just so we wouldn't get complacent, Hurricane Eta blew into the Gulf. Hurricane Eta's track was so erratic that I think several weather forecasters actually had a nervous breakdown. As for Janet and I, well, we took up heavy drinking and the Weather Channel became our favorite show to watch. At this point, we've had so much to drink that we honestly don't know how many hurricanes have impacted us this year. I think it's either 4 or 5, but I'm really not sure anymore. We drink alone, we drink at bars, but we've also met some new friends who also feel the need to drink and keep an eye on the sky. Our new friends are British, so it only seems proper that they serve us English tea and cake. It's been a long time since we've been served a proper English tea. It's nice. And as often happens, our paths cross with other RV friends. And this time, we had the opportunity to introduce new friends to old friends. Roger and Bonnie also rolled into town. They were only in town for a few days. In between hurricanes, I mean. And since the skies were blue, the seas were calm, and the weather was warm, it turned out to be a great time to do a little kayaking. We spent a few glorious hours paddling around in Pensacola Bay. We enjoyed looking at some of the beautiful homes that sit on the beach of this bay. We had a great day with Roger and Bonnie, but unfortunately, the next day they needed to leave and continue with their travels. COVID is really starting to get bad. More and more people are being infected, more and more people are dying. So Janet and I are sticking to our new favorite pastime of hiking the trails in the Florida area. Within about an hour's drive of us, there are many different parks with many different trails. Since this is Florida, most of the trails are flat, so hiking 5 or 6 or even 7 miles is not that big of a deal. We think that this is a really great way to pass the day. We get some fresh air, we get some exercise, we get healthier, and we hardly ever see any people on these trails. And staying away from crowds and people is probably the best way to stay safe in this year of COVID. So at least until this is over, we intend to stay safe and continue hiking. Okay, well, relatively safe. This year, we found all sorts of beautiful places as we've hiked some of these trails. We've also found an old abandoned amphitheater and some old forgotten ammunition bunkers on an old abandoned Air Force base. And the year is almost over, and our time on the beaches of Pensacola is coming to an end. And as the year ends, we look back at our 2020 adventures. The year was pretty much a mess, and just about every plan we had fell through. But not all our plans. Some of the early months, pre-COVID, along the Rio Grande River was some of the best traveling we've done so far. And mid-year, up in the Finger Lakes region of New York, might have been even better. Altogether, we traveled over 5,700 miles this year. And although we definitely could have done without the hurricanes at the end of the year, we did survive. And the year is over, and it's time for us to move on. We didn't add any new states to our map this year, but we're sure 2021 is going to be better, and we're looking forward to adding more states and seeing more places. So, it's time to move on, and we'll see you at our next stop.